Lisa is taking the red-eye back to her home in Miami, where she works as a hotel manager. Fate would have it that her flight is delayed, but the stars have aligned and she meets a dashing young man, Jackson Ripner, and they hit it off. He's a dream. When she boards her flight, it seems the gods are smiling on her, because she gets seated right next to the dashing stranger that she had a spark with. As the plane takes off, love is in the air, and her life is about to be changed forever, because the handsome, dashing Jackson has a proposition for her. All that he asks is that she uses her authority to switch the Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security to a different room in her hotel, so that Jackson's terrorist organization can carry out his assassination. And if she does this teeny tiny little thing, Jackson will call off the hitman that's waiting outside of Lisa's dad's house. Wow. And who says that romance is dead? I saw Red Eye back in theaters in 2005, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's a breezy 85-minute thriller from Wes Craven, and I've always had a bit of a soft spot for it. And it seems like a lot of people are actually pretty fond of this movie. Unfortunately, the movie didn't come out on Blu-ray at release. The format was pretty new, and not everything was getting released on it. So I got the DVD, hoping that someday I'd be able to pick this movie up in high definition. But in the meantime, at least the DVD doesn't look that bad. Just give them a few years. It'll happen. Finally, just a few weeks ago, Red Eye released on Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD. It took them long enough. People literally died waiting for this movie to come out. So I just rewatched the movie. I still love it. It looks great. Everyone is happy, so let's talk about it. Why do I like this movie so much? Why did I wait an entire childhood for this thing? I mean, it's not exactly Scream or A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is a bit of a sleeper hit. It has a small fan following. But the movie kinda came and went, and for the most part, it didn't really leave much of an impact on film. They didn't make 5 sequels to Red Eye, turning it into a mega horror blockbuster franchise. And there's a very good reason for this. Red Eye is a single-serving, fun little Hitchcockian thriller that flies by fast, it lands smoothly, and nobody suffers from jet lag. It's simple, but it's clever. It's exciting, but it's a little silly. It's just as serious as it needs to be, at the right times, and it's good, dumb fun when it needs to be. It's a movie that juggles everything just right, and it doesn't waste a second of your time. This movie has a pretty even 3-act structure, so I'm gonna tackle these parts one by one. Let's start off at the airport. The movie opens with Lisa heading there in a taxi while talking with her dad on the phone. The movie gives us some good old-fashioned exposition, but it's efficient, it's snappy, and it's totally necessary for the movie. In just a short amount of time, we learn a lot about Lisa's character. We meet Jackson, charming, handsome guy. We get a glimpse into Lisa's dark past. She shares a drink with Jackson, a delicious Bay Breeze, her favorite. While we're stuck in the airport, we get a little more info on the TV. We're introduced to our assassination target for the movie. And it's very clear that every little bit of information we're being given in this movie has a payoff. This whole time they've been setting up dominoes for the exciting next 2 acts. As soon as the plane takes off, so does the movie. Jackson doesn't beat around the bush, and really, there's no good reason to. He has a job, one simple job, and that's to get Lisa to make this one phone call. After that, it should be smooth sailing. The target will be taken out, he'll probably kill Lisa and her dad, and then he can go home and watch American Psycho. But Lisa is less eager to make that phone call than he would hope. In fact, she's going to stretch this whole ordeal out and cause all sorts of problems. It's a real headache for him. Now that we're in the second act and the ball has really started rolling, I really want to point out how perfect these two actors are. Rachel McAdams is great. She's likable, sympathetic. She has pretty good survival instincts. Everything you want in a strong protagonist. Murphy is also great. He's dark, mysterious. He's oddly sexist. He's strong-willed. He can be a little mean. He's a stalker. He hurts people. He's a Batman villain. Honestly, there's a lot of red flags with this guy. And these two actors together playing these two characters, it's magic. The script holds up on its own, the filmmaking itself is fine, but without the chemistry and the charm of these two, I don't know. I don't think this movie would have ever gotten away from DVD. So the characters are great, but let's talk about the script a bit. Lisa is going to do a few things to get out of this pickle she's in. One scene after the next, she never stops fighting back. You might be thinking, on a plane, how much can you really do? Well, not a ton, but they pretty much cover all those bases. What makes it so entertaining and thrilling is that it's one escape attempt after another. But Jackson is always right on top of her. And with this movie largely happening in real time, while there's also a bit of a race against the clock, it's all genuinely entertaining. Now, you would assume that since this is a thriller on an airplane, the most thrilling parts of this movie would be on the plane, but it's not. The movie doesn't really get going until the plane lands, and we enter the final act, where Lisa makes her final stand, that she's not going to submit, she's going to save everybody. And she does this by stabbing Jackson in the throat and running off the plane. Now we have a fun little chase scene through the airport. Lisa is being hunted by Jackson and the entire airport security. And she needs to stop the assassination at her hotel. Oh, and she needs to save her dad from the killer outside of his house. That's a lot. The chase scene is good fun, but it does have a couple funny moments. There's actually a lot of funny moments at the climax of the movie. There are moments that are supposed to be funny, moments that are jokes, right? But this movie gets really silly. The assassination attempt is just pure dumb fun, and it's so over the top, and just ridiculous. I honestly wouldn't change a thing about it, but it's kind of bad. The real danger that we're emotionally invested in is the hitman outside the father's house. And she saves her dad right before the final conflict. It's Lisa versus Jackson. If you forgot that this is a Wes Craven movie, here's a nice little reminder. Because this is a final girl slasher scene from a director who's really good at this stuff. This whole ending is fantastic. So the first act is a nice little romantic comedy. Pretty low stress, a good amount of setup, and then bam, second act is a boxed-in kidnapping thriller. And the final act is a split between action and horror. 85 minutes and we have a multi-genre action-packed thrill ride with some good laughs and really good tension and some great acting. This movie is the definition of fun, and I love it. It might not be Wes Craven's best movie, but it's one of my favorites from him. This is a good popcorn flick. Rewatching this movie helps ease the pain of waiting 18 years